Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Anisha and this is probably gonna be my first video, my first public video, but these are some things I wish I knew before starting my locks. Number one, the parting. I really wish I knew that the way you part your hair is gonna determine how thick your locks turn out. I actually just winged it. I didn't know what count I wanted. I didn't know how thick I really wanted them. I knew I wanted them to be a bit thick. I didn't know how thick I wanted them. And I kind of just left it up to the hairdresser to kind of just part it how she saw fit. But now that I kind of have a better idea of how thick I want each of my locks to be, I realized that I should have told her to maybe make my count somewhere between 80 and maybe 100 max for locks. Right now I have 116, I believe. The last time I counted, I'm pretty sure it was 116. And they are pretty small. I still do like them, don't get me wrong. But it is a bit thinner than I thought it was gonna be, to be honest, especially my back row. My back row is probably like where my most thin locks are. The most of the locks I have that are thin. And then same with over here and over here, hence why they're combined into two twists right now. Overall, I love my locks. I've come into accepting the fact that they are going to be on the skinnier side. I'm still praying that they get a little bit thick. I think right now at 1 year, they're kind of the size that they're going to be. So now it's just a matter of letting them get longer and seeing how I like them. But if they get to my shoulder length and they're not looking fuller, then I think I will start to combine them. Probably will combine these ones. And then my entire back row will probably be combined. I think I have 1, 2, 3. I have 5 back there. I'll probably make it 3, to be honest. But yeah, so if you want thick locks, you're gonna have to do some really big parting, especially if your hair is not like even throughout your whole head. Like some part of my hair is thinner, some parts thicker. These locks on this side tend to be, like these ones are actually my thicker locks. This side is a bit more thin. But overall, I do kind of wish I spent a little bit more time looking into how many lock counts I want and looking into what parting system I want. And I'll insert a proper video here of my actual parting, but I mean, I'm not mad about the parting. It's more so just the size. For my parting, yeah, I just wish I did them thicker. If you want skinny locks, then probably somewhere around 116, like what I have, is probably good for you. What I would recommend doing is going on Instagram. There are a lot of lock stars on Instagram where you literally look at my explore page and it's full of people with locks. So what I normally do, and I'm gonna do this especially when I'm actually serious about combining, is I'm gonna go on to Instagram and look at these lock stars and kind of, most of the times they tell you how many locks they have. So I think I'll just compare their locks to mine in that sense, and then start to combine and get down to whatever number they have, to be honest. But honestly, everybody's lock is gonna be different. Everyone's lock experience will be different. Your hair density will play a really big part of how thick your locks actually are, but the parting system does help a lot. So that's one of the major things I wish I knew before starting my locks. I wish I just spent a little bit more time figuring out what size I wanted and realizing that the thicker my parts, the thicker the locks are going to be. Obviously, it's common sense. It sounds like common sense now that I say it out loud and now that I've actually done the research, but it wasn't common when I was starting. So if you're looking into starting your locks, definitely check out some people's pages and kind of see what thickness works best for you. So number 2, before starting my locks, I was looking at different twisting methods and I figured, and a lot of people were saying palm rolling was the best. So I kind of figured, okay, if I want something that's going to be more natural looking, even throughout the entire lock, then to just palm roll. I am not palm rolling anymore. I just did my last retwist literally yesterday for my 1 year anniversary, and it wasn't palm rolling. I guess it was, I don't know how to explain it. So I'll describe what I had before and then I'll describe what I did yesterday. So for the first 11 months of me being locked, I would go to the same lady. I always kept it consistent with going to her. And she would actually palm roll my locks. When I first started, she palm rolled it. When I did my first retwist, she palm rolled it, and I was okay with it until about, honestly, probably around the 8-month mark. I kind of started questioning like the method, and I'll tell you why. So when you get your hair palm rolled, especially if your hair is shorter like mine, like when I did start, like my hair was around here, they palm roll the entire length of the lock. And when you first start, like for the month 1, month 2 and 3, I think that's fine because your hair is gonna be frizzy, it's gonna be unraveling, so I don't mind that they do the entire length of the lock. But when your hair is actually kind of like locked where you can't just, it doesn't unravel easily, I think you should switch to just twisting the roots. And that's one of the mistakes I made. It was just going back, and I guess I didn't tell them that I didn't want to palm roll my entire length, but I should have told them that because I realize now that I think it affects how thick my locks became. So when they're consistently palm rolling down to the end of your lock, it's compacting the hair, which would obviously make it smaller. And I feel like that's why some of my locks are so thin. Mind you, these are 1-year locks. Honestly, I was under the impression that my hair would get really thick and then kind of come like down here for thickness. My hair density obviously plays a role in it, but I do believe that palm rolling the entire lock will actually make it thin. So the last time I did my retwist was yesterday. I was talking to the lady and I kind of told her that, and she told me that she really does only the roots, which I think makes a lot more sense because obviously the roots are, it's not locked, right? So it makes sense to just twist that and then leave the rest of your thick locks alone so that it can just do its own thing. I think if I was doing that from the start, then my hair would be a little bit thicker now. So I kind of wish I would have done that from the beginning, but again, when I did my locks, I didn't do enough research, to be honest. It was impulsive. I thought about it for a couple years, but actually doing it was very impulsive. I just booked my appointment and went, and I didn't question it or anything. So if I can go back in time, from my first and up, from the very first retwist, I would ask them to just twist the roots instead of doing the entire lock. I do feel like that really does make it thin. So that's one thing I really, really wish I knew beforehand. So number 3, one of the other things I really wish I knew before starting my locks was understanding the importance of covering your hair so that you don't build up any lint. I don't have a lot of lint in my hair, but I did notice my back row especially, it did have, I don't even know if it's lint because it wasn't like it didn't look like little, I guess, it's lint. So my back row did have a lot of lint, and I did have to go into it with a tweezer after looking at different YouTube videos to see how other people take lint out of their hair. I did come across a lot of videos of people saying that they don't like to tweeze their hair because it will weaken the lock, which I did experience, I'm not gonna lie. But their solution was something that I didn't want to do, and it was the coloring method where you just color over the lint. I'm nuts, so if I color over it, me in the back of my mind knowing that it's still there would just drive me crazy. So I actually did go in with a tweezer and I plucked most of it out. But it did thin my lock. Like, I'll show you. It's the same skinny lock I showed before. It's the second one in the back row. Like, this is probably the thinnest lock that I do have. And I think it is because I went in with tweezers and pulled lint out of it. But I would do it again because I don't like to see lint in my hair. Right now, I did that to like my entire back row because I don't know, I guess it's because of the sweaters and stuff. I live in Canada, so I do have to wear sweaters in the winter and stuff. I think that's what caused the lint to be there to begin with. Or maybe simply because I wasn't covering my hair for most of the days every day. I do like to have my hair out. I don't like wearing anything over my head unless I'm sleeping. But now, more recently, I have actually started wearing like a bonnet inside, or at least a head tie. I even got like a little dreadlock tube, even though my hair doesn't meet the bottom, but we move and it's working for me. So I think I'm gonna continue to do that. But other ways I try to avoid locks getting into my hair, lint getting into my hair, would be to actually use a lint roller. So this thing actually comes in handy. I have a fall jacket that kind of has like, I don't know the material, but it's the material you can see that lint will come from it. So before I wear it, I just roll over it. And then when I take it off, I roll over it again. And honestly, I even just lint roll my hair at the back, like especially near the roots, because that's where I find most of the lint starts to build up. yeah, so I don't know how safe it is for my hair. I don't know what is on this, but it seems to be working because I don't see any more lint. So I'm going to continue to do that until something happens, which would make me not do. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna continue to do it. Like I said before, I'm not really into coloring over locks with like I think they're saying like a black marker or whatever. Some people were saying to just dye your hair. Mind you, I did dye my hair since starting. My hair was black. It's brown now, which you can't really tell because of the lighting. But it is brown, and I still make it a point to look at each of my locks and kind of, I actually do analyze every single one of my locks for lint, and now I'll just take the tweezer right away and take it out. I think it's better if you catch it early, obviously. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do. That's one thing I wish I knew before starting my lock journey though, is to just really take measures ahead of time to prevent lint from building up. I didn't know that, and I learned now. So if this can help you, then I'm happy. On the topic of lint, I do want to go over what I wish I knew when it came to washing your hair and brushing your hair. I'll start off with washing. When I first started my locks, I was told by my loctician to wash my hair the next time I come for a retwist, which would be in 4 weeks. So I didn't wash my hair for 4 weeks, but I did spray it with water, which I don't think I should have done. I think that's why it actually took so long for my hair to lock. My hair didn't actually lock until I think at the 5-month mark, I knew, okay, like I can wet my hair and it's not gonna unravel. But the first 3 months for sure, it was unraveling at like most points. But yeah, when it came to washing, I was told not to wash for the first 4 weeks. I would then wash for my first retwist and then continue to wash every month at my next retwist. But around month 5, I found that I could wash my hair and it wouldn't unravel. So yeah, I was really happy to learn that. I do think though that when you start your locks, I don't think that there should be a limit for when you should rewash your hair. I actually do think that washing your hair does help lock it. Yeah, because the second I actually started washing my hair consistently in between retwists is when I realized like the actual form of my lock was like solidified, like it was not coming out. So I do think washing definitely helps. In terms of brushing, I kind of have mixed feelings with brushing now. I was brushing my hair when I discovered lint in my hair, but I do also think that contributes to, first of all, pulling my hair out. I don't know if I'm using maybe the wrong type of brush. It was like, actually it was my brother's brush. I don't know if it's a wave brush. I don't know. If I had it now, I would go get it, but I don't know where it is. But I was using that for a bit, and I do think that it made my locks a bit thin. It made like the hair over here a bit thinner, which is now like starting to grow back. So I don't think I would recommend brushing your hair until like it's actually fully locked. My hair is pretty much locked now, but even now I don't feel comfortable really brushing it, not heavy at least. Like a light brush maybe, but like to actually like brush it like how I see people brushing their locks, like I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think anyone should be there yet until it's actually formed, only because it's gonna pull the hair out, it's gonna make it frizzy. I think it's gonna disrupt the process of it actually locking. So I did wish I knew that before, because I was actually brushing my hair pretty often, especially when I saw lint. I'm very scared of lint, and I thought brushing it would be the best way to get rid of it, but maybe that even tangled it up more. So now when I see lint, like I said before, I'll just go in with the tweezer the second I see it and pull it out and be done with it there. Let's talk about conditioner. I wish I would have stayed away from conditioner, leave-in or just regular conditioner that you wash out when you wash your hair. The reason being that it does slow down the locking process, at least it did for me, and I wish I would have just left it alone to begin with. I was really concerned with moisture when I started my lock journey. I would hear all the time like moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. So I wanted to moisturize. I would spray my hair with water. I'd put like castor oil or argan oil in there, and then I would put the leave-in conditioner with TGIN. Thank God it's natural, I believe. I believe that's what the brand is called. But yeah, that was a big mistake. It really did slow down my process. I would go to do I think at my 3rd month retwist appointment, my loctician was like, your hair should be like kind of getting its form now. She's like, oh, I'm surprised it keeps unraveling. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why it's unraveling. She's like, well, are you putting conditioner in it? I'm like, yeah. She's like, why? And I'm like, moisture. She's like, no. So yeah, even when she was retwisting my hair, and I'm so like, now that I think about it, I should have known, because anytime I went to one of my retwist appointments, she would tell me specifically that she's not putting conditioner in my hair so that my hair can actually lock on its own. So I should have heard that and thought, okay, let me just stay away from conditioner. Me, I guess I don't listen, but yeah, I actually was using leave-in conditioner all the time. And it didn't cause any buildup or anything, but I do think it would cause my hair to unravel. And if I would have known that before, I would have just left it alone. Now I don't use my leave-in conditioner unless my hair feels extremely dry. I did dye my hair, so once in a while I will actually condition it just because I feel like I need to. Otherwise it feels like a tree branch. But yeah, if I had known that earlier, I would have left it alone. And just for the first, I would say up until the first like 8 months, maybe, when your hair is actually solid with a lock, I wouldn't even consider conditioner, to be honest. But of course, everybody's hair is different. It's just something that my loctician told me, and I did see it online as well after I actually started researching it. So I guess it's something that's common. I just didn't know about it. But save yourself the hassle and just don't bother with conditioner, at least not for the first couple months. So those are mainly the things I wish I knew before starting my lock journey. Once again, I am 1 year locked now, so I think I do have a better understanding of what it all entails. And obviously the whole process, the whole journey is actually a journey. So I'm sure there's gonna be more I wish I knew before. Like maybe I'll make another video when the time comes, if there is something else that I discover. But besides what I wish I knew before, I want to talk about, and I'm mentioning this because I was looking at one of my old pictures, I want to talk about how to be confident with your starter locks in the ugly phase. Let me just start off by saying right now, there is no true ugly phase. I do know people put the word ugly, or they use the word ugly because your locks just look like they're all over the place. They're unraveled, they're skinny at the end. You can see your coil, but their roots are puffy. I think that is really, like, I think it's nice. I honestly do think it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful to embrace what your hair would be doing naturally if you weren't manipulating it with any like products or combs or whatever. But I'm not gonna lie, yeah, now that I look back at my picture, I did look at it and I did think, like, how was I going outside? But I look at it and I'm like, how was I going outside? But I really don't remember in that moment feeling like, oh my God, like I shouldn't go outside because my hair looks like this. I never once felt like that. And I think it's because I just really tried to embrace the natural process. And I did spend a lot of time looking at other people's lock journeys, which kind of kept me like encouraged. And my brother is locked too. His locks are like down his back. So I was looking at his locks too, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get there soon. I don't feel my locks are ugly right now because everybody has to go through this phase unless you're doing the instant locks. But yeah, to keep yourself confident, honestly, like what I did was just look at other people's locks and just waited my turn. It truly is about patience. And I know that sounds so cliche because anytime you see people with locks, there was like patience, but truly it is about patience. And if you do have your locks right now and you are starting and you think you're in your ugly phase, just know that it is beautiful. And there are people who really do look at your locks and they admire it. And I did get that a lot especially during my starter phase. People would tell me all the time, like they like my hair, and I would be like, really? Like I knew I liked it, but I'm like, I just thought like there's such a misconception about people who have locks and, you know, they don't wash their hair or they don't, whatever the case may be. But there are people who actually really do admire it, and it does keep you going. But most importantly, I think that you should find that that self-reassurance yourself. Like I do think that you should be able to spend some time looking at your own hair in the mirror, look at other people's hair, and just truly embrace it. It is a beautiful process. And it still is a beautiful process. Like, I mean, I'm talking as if I'm years in. I'm only 1 year in and I already feel this way. So imagine when my hair is down my back. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do hope that it has helped at least one person who's considering locking their hair. If you're watching this right now, take this as your sign to just go ahead and do it. Do it, but make sure you do it the right way and do it how you think you would want your hair to look in the future. There are a lot of people who end up doing it and then they end up restarting, which is totally fine. But I would honestly say like just kind of look into the parting system. Really, I think that's honestly the most important. Everything else kind of comes after. But yeah, take this as a sign to go lock your hair. Like, why not? And I know there's people too who have like a bit thinner hair and they're always saying like, I can't lock my hair because it's too thin. I don't believe that's true. I think anyone can lock their hair. I think it just depends on, it really is going to depend on what parting system you use to make it look best for you. And I think that's where it's best to consult like a loctician or, somebody who has locks. Even like, you never know what kind of advice you can get from somebody else. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I think I'm going to insert some pictures of my lock journey as well so that you guys can see how my hair has kind of adjusted, and I'll take a proper video of the actual parting system. I do have a style in right now, so I'll just capture what I can. And yeah, hopefully I can see you guys in another video. I am just getting used to recording, so this is kind of like my me getting my feet wet, I guess I should say. Again, my name is Anisha, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.